Do you feel that you've been sort of forgiven by your following? Like this reaction now, do you feel that kind of seals a man shouting yes? Do you feel that speaks for your...
I think I got lucky because, you know, the difference between tax avoidance and tax evasion, if you're not aware, about 18 months in prison. I came down on the right side of, like, it was a dodgy thing to do, but it wasn't a legal thing to do. People were very forgiving. I tell you who was the nicest. Builders and black cab drivers. Like from building sites around London. Oh, you've done nothing wrong, son. And every taxi driver, all right? Yeah, they fucking turned you over, didn't they? It's going to be cash, though, isn't it?
What was the reaction amongst like your colleagues in comedy?
I mean, it was the great thing was, you know, there's that lovely phrase, we cannot forgive what we cannot punish. It was quite easy for me to see what to do. Some people get cancelled over something and they don't know what to do, and they won't be forgiven, and it lasts forever. And for mine, it was like, pay it back, say sorry. Okay. And people were pretty nice about it, and I sort of took my medicine. I was on 8 out of 10 Cats this week. I was doing a topical comedy show about the most talked about things this week, and I was the most talked about thing. And often you credit comedians or people, the on-screen talent, with being clever, and I wasn't. But my producer was clever. My producer, Ruth Phillips, took me to one side and said, you've just got to take it. You've got to take your medicine and just let them rip into you and don't say a fucking word. Do not clap back. Best advice I ever got. Because Sean was on the show. He was fucking brilliantly funny. He said, everyone prepares for a rainy day. You're more set up than Noah. So good. I was among friends. Mickey Flanagan was there. I mean, you know where Mickey's from. He's done a couple of scaffolding jobs for cash. Sarah Millican was so funny and so warm, and I felt like I was amongst friends. They ripped into me, and that was like being in the stocks. And tomatoes thrown at you, and you take your medicine, and you say sorry, and it's over, it's done. I mean, the effect on me long term was, it really hit me. I think a lot of people thought I was quite cool with it. Like that I would be, because of the kind of comedy that I do, I'll be fine. My anxiety flared. I didn't sleep for about 4 or 5 days. I was taking some medication. I was zombie-like for the week, getting through it. And I felt like I was going to lose everything. And you sort of realize how much you like your life.
Yeah. And did you have people around you? Did you have people supporting you? Or did you ever feel like...
I mean, I had my yeah. I mean, you really find out who your friends are, which is awful in a couple of respects, where you thought, I thought that guy was a really close friend, and then they were kind of gleeful that you'd been brought down a peg or two, and you go, But I'm not interested in fair weather friends. I'm not interested in people that are just there for that. I like a foul weather friend. I remember James Corden was doing One Man, Two Governors on Broadway when the story broke on the Monday. And he called me on the Monday night in his interval, like he's got 20 minutes off in this very physically demanding show. And he phoned me and just went, you all right? You all right? No one gives a fuck. You're fine. Still, we got you. You're fine. And I really needed to hear it. And it meant the absolute world. And then I said, oh, thanks, whatever. And then he called the next night and did the same thing. And again, you still need, and then the next night, and the next night. And I really felt cared for and looked after, and like, you've still got your mates. And you never forget that. And I suppose the lesson from that, and the thing that I put in the book is, if you've got someone that, a friend, a relative, whatever, that's going through hard times, call. I always call now on the day. And even if it's something embarrassing or weird, or you're not quite sure what to say, just phone a guy, I don't know what to say. It's so much better than not calling.
Your anxiety...
Thanks.
You mentioned there your anxiety, and that's something I just had no idea that you ever suffered from. You seem so impenetrable when you see you in these kind of high-status hosting roles on TV. And in the book, you talk about was it a lifelong battle with anxiety? You wake up anxious?
Not really. Yeah, I wake up at about 5 a.m. with a panic attack most days, more often than not, which isn't great. But people have got it worse than me. You know, I don't need to medicate. I can kind of white knuckle it. I try and see how many people suffer with anxiety by round of applause. Yeah. There's a lot of us, right? And the way that I see it is it's the kind of negative side of having a creative mind. So your mind is racing, so you're going to overthink things, and there's methods of kind of dealing with it, but I try and see it as a positive and go, look, all of the good stuff, okay, so it comes with this as well, and that's okay. I think the more that people talk about it and share, the better. Because, the thing that every therapist should tell you, and I kind of say it in the book, but every therapist should sit you down and go, there's other therapies, it's not just me. Because I'm not really interested in the Freudian sit on a couch and talk about your relationship with your mother. I know where it all comes from. So that thing of like, what am I going to do to deal with it? And that thing of like going, well, it could be CBT or it could be NLP or something. Those therapies are available and they're really sort of valuable and really work. And
you've really kind of walked the walk there. Like you describe from a really inside perspective how those different therapies have affected you because you've done loads of that stuff. There was a moment, I wanted to ask you, there's a moment in the book where you refer to dancing the 5 rhythms during a thunderstorm. And I honestly couldn't tell whether that was you taking the piss out of hippie bullshit or a thing you've genuinely done.
I've done all that hippie bullshit.
You've done it.
All of dancing the 5 rhythms, I couldn't recommend it highly enough. Beautiful experience. Walking on hot coals.
Okay.
Fucking nothing. Don't worry about it. Pointless exercise.
Is there good and bad therapy? Do you undergo a thing and go? Ugh.
I think there's a lot of therapy. The walking on coals thing is just to G's people up, but it doesn't specifically tell them what to do.
Okay.
So you get a lot of kind of excitement, but then what's the next step? What am I going to do next? And I'm much more into the therapy, and the stuff that I tried to put in the book was that stuff of going, okay, so what's tomorrow? What are we doing next?
And are you motivated to write about it from the perspective of working through it for yourself as much as from the perspective of trying to help other people?
At the end of the book, I sort of do, right at the end, I sort of do a little summing up of all the things. And I read it back and went, I do about half this shit about half the time. But I'd be a fucking superstar if I did it all. So part of the act of writing it is to kind of remind yourself, actually, you should do more of this.
And there's something about your job, there's something about doing stand-up comedy and the fact that that relies upon having a healthy relationship with failure that probably, that helps, right? That you can lean into the idea of failing, get comfortable with it.
Well, if there's any reason to kind of write the book, it's to kind of to get away from the Instagram world of perfection that people see, because all you see on Instagram and in the social media world is perfection. You see results, and you never see the hard work, and you never see the anxiety, you never see anything else. So stripping that away, I think, is quite important because it just seems impossible. I think there's a lot of young people that look at that stuff and just go, it's just a perfect world that I'm not part of, and I don't feel like that. I mean, you have this weird sensation now where people are sort of jealous of their online identity.
Yeah.
Because they're so sort of far removed from it. I'm always smiling in photos, but I don't feel that way inside. And there's a mental health crisis with young people because that world is being portrayed. And people can't live up to it. They can't possibly live up to it. Yeah, it's terrible, right?
Hello, I'm Jimmy Carr, and I'm announcing a new tour. It's called Jimmy Carr Laughs Funny, because, I do. I go to jimmycarr.com for dates and tickets, and then, I guess, buy a ticket and come and see the tour. I laugh funny, so can you. Come and see me.